introduce Dr. Maria Ian from the United States. Dr. Maria Ian is a results-oriented personal transformation coach, author, and public speaker. She comes from a family of medical doctors and has several decades of research in trauma recovery. In her legal career as a project manager for legal service providers for 15 years, she counseled on human rights, immigration, and national security. As an author, she focuses on medical sciences and legal and psychological thrillers. On her website, www.caveofthesun.com, you'll find her in full writing gear at the age of 2, as she is self-taught. Dr. Ian has a PhD in political science, a JD in law, 6 professional certifications in health and fitness, 6 in TCM, and several in trauma counseling. Her research passion is the extraordinary, miraculous connection between spirit and energy behind the science. Is that too abstract? No worries. We are all together on this path. Dr. Ian delights in the opportunity to provide a guiding light. We welcome Dr. Ian as she presents to us what you always wanted to know about ancestral healing, but were too afraid to ask. Welcome, Dr. Maria Ian.
Thank you, Enolia, for that beautiful introduction. On the one hand, we human beings are made so as to be governed by fear. Fear-based decisions are very distinctive. They are restrictive and hold you back. And they are very important because they support the survival mind, that mind that we need to keep us safe and protected. A decision from a high level of awareness, on the other hand, is a decision of abundant energy, expansive, and for some reason you can't logically explain it, you are guided towards it. Obviously, our survival mind will resist decisions from a high level of awareness because we like to make decisions that feel right to us, which means that they are familiar decisions that we make to keep ourselves safe. So in life, we don't want to do what is right. We want to do that which makes us great, which honors who we want to be. Each decision changes you. So you are really deciding on alternative versions of you. A lot of baggage comes with fear-based decisions, and it is very serious baggage. For example, in a fear-based decision, we cannot really distinguish between real events and vividly imagined ones. Fear-based decisions keep survival-based emotions alive, such as stress and anxiety, and even aggravate those. And because we have to mask and bury our fears in the darkness of our subconscious, fear-based decisions get a free pass to manipulate our lives. We project our fears onto the outer world and see the world itself as a source of them. You thus end up defining reality as the source of your problems. And running away from fear is a race you will never win. You can't run away from yourself. And there is something else. Fear-based decisions are controlled by the very dark stuff in our DNA, as in hereditary material. So you know about individuals who think they got the same diseases as their parents and grandparents, individuals who repeat intergenerational trauma. So we end up having a conception of culture, of traditions, that is a projection of fears, causing stress and anxiety, trying to bring back and recreate historical events such that they end up being reactive to a world of fear that hypnotizes you, causing collective endeavors of destruction, which end up being self-destructive. Then how do we get from this entrenched warfare of the person against him or herself to the center of higher awareness? According to contemporary cell biology and quantum physics, the choice is made at the cellular level. That is where it is decided if the dark areas of our genetic material predominate or if we are expansive and guided. And in order to make that choice, we must be attuned to the universe at a very high level, because the field is the sole governing agency of the particle, quote by Albert Einstein. So it is the environmental signal that adjusts the genetic, and by environmental, we mean the field as the sole governing agency of the particle. The decisions we make at our cellular level are decisions of our consciousness. The skin or membrane of the cell is the nervous system that reads the environment and adjusts the inside of the cell. The skin or membrane is the foundation of the nervous system from the single cell to the human. Some very contemporary science compares the cell membrane to a computer chip, the nucleus as a hard drive with programs, so the information comes to the surface of the cell, and there are proteins created by the inside of the cell that translate the signal that comes to the surface from the outside and turns it into behavior. That is the interface of life. We are not controlled by genes, we are controlled by what goes on in the environment. But what environment are we talking about? We have to look at consciousness. The cell has self-receptors created out of the protein in the genetic blueprints. No two people are biologically the same. Each of us has a different set of these self-receptors on the cell. They don't tell me muscle, they don't tell me bone, they don't tell me action and reaction. They tell me this is self. So there are antennas on the surface of the cell. In quantum physics, a receptor, which is the physical protein in the genetic blueprints, responds to a field in the creation of energy. No two people get the same reception or broadcast because every person has their own set of antennas. So my identity is picked up by the receptors. A broadcast of Maria, of Christina, of Enolia is coming in here. So we are like television sets, but we are not the television. We are the broadcast. This field is the sole governing agency of the particle, which means that the ultimate source is beyond space and time. Our human potential of self-cell creation is infinite. Pretty much everything else we have in this world is finite. The self-receptors that are created out of the genetic blueprints, by interpreting those signals that are coming from the environment, create the mind, and this process of interpretation creates consciousness. So we can study how cells, by the means of the energy field that they create, control gene activity and can attune genes to the larger forces in the universe. What attuning has to take place for us to make expansive, high awareness decisions? Contemporary science is very persuasive that the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. What does this mean? We need to take a closer look at the process of the creation of consciousness. The cell creates consciousness when the cell receptors created from our genetic blueprint respond to the energy fields. The entire process of genetic blueprints that make the cell also involves energy, which is electricity. So the translation by the inside of the cell of the signal that comes to the surface from the outside is the energy field writing consciousness and creating the cell's brain. The cell's brain is a form of energy with consciousness and purpose, and the energy field writes consciousness into that brain. This is a two-way process that creates human potential. In the energy of the universe, we are thus life born at creation. We are the universe. That, by definition, is not governed by time or space. It is beyond time and space. That is the center of pure awareness, realizing that you are the universe in the silence of perfect safety. You are a pure energy with no regards to time and place. Does this mean that we have eradicated our genes and are now governed by pure energy? Because of how humans are physiologically made, that could never happen, because we need the survival mind. The only force that can do anything resembling eradicating our genes is fear, hardwired emotion-driven responses in crisis situations, for example. Making decisions from the center of pure awareness means you change the mode of operation of your subconscious such that you expand and recreate your genetic blueprint. And there is a specific moment in time that is most important. According to studies, after about the 8th month of life, our energy has a certain ability, which for simplicity's sake, we will refer to as the ability to resolve its processes in collaboration with our genetic material. But prior to the 8th month, energy is more free floating, which means it is more sensitive to picking up specific genetic material as opposed to other. This being of an infant stays with us through life, since it is energy created beyond space and time, and also has nothing to do with the particular place that we are in physically. It can be said that it is this area prior to the 8th month and going back prior to birth that primarily has to be cleared for our existence in the here and now to be most attuned to the field that we transcribe. So an infant is more powerful in terms of real, actual power than an adult because it owns the pure energy of the universe. So can we stay infants forever? According to the science, we actually could. According to the practice, we live in a world that is completely divorced from the science. That is why I like to say that we have to train ourselves to change how we operate with the subconscious mind. Now, that is just the basics of some very fascinating life energy blueprints, and a lot more can be added. So anyone who is interested in contacting me, they can do so on my website, www.caveofthesun.com. And it was a pleasure presenting on this fascinating topic. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Dr. Maria, amazing as always. It always fascinates me how you can explain the simple things of life in scientific terms, really. But I completely, totally agree with you. And I think that everybody who's going to listen to this or watch this, yes, we are the whole universe. The whole universe is within us and we are energy. And thank you very much for sharing about the fact how we make decisions, fear-based decisions. Yes, these are guiding us at this point, but yes, we can change that. So I truly appreciate you. You are amazing. And thank you so much as always for being here.
Thank you, Christina. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ian. I always love your topics, and I'm going to contact you because there's some questions I have for you. I want to know when the humanness actually impacts the being, and is it as early as 8 months? Because it's our humanness that brings in that finite time and space, because we are not used to dealing with our own universe and the fact we are limitless. So that, along with the factors all around us and the environment all around us, and the fact that it's learned, because if we didn't have the learned response, we would never have the limitation.
Exactly.
So
yes,
I would love to have that conversation with you.
Yes, please contact me. Yes, I will very much welcome that. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.